Our thoughts are the initial contours of what we perceive as reality. The mind, vast and ever-flowing, emanates images, stories, ideas, and dreams, creating a unique experience as if we are immersed in a personal world, a reflection of what we think and feel. Through these thoughts, we shape our perception, which is merely a unique lens through which we view the world. Yet this lens is also shaped by what we choose to think, observe, and internalize. Thoughts can be conscious when we deliberate and decide in which directions we want to focus our attention. They can also be subconscious, flowing like deep rivers beneath the mind's surface, without us fully understanding their origins or influence. And there are intrusive thoughts, those that arise without warning, reflecting fears, anxieties, and beliefs that we may not even know we hold. Each of these types of thought, whether conscious, subconscious, or intrusive, acts like a brush, painting the canvas of our experience and shaping how we view life and ourselves. Imagine for a moment that each thought is a vibration shaping and transforming the reality around us. When we consciously repeat positive affirmations, for instance, we are, in fact, emitting frequencies that help create this reality within our field of perception. At the same time, when we're led by subconscious thoughts, those we carry unknowingly, we often create realities that seem to arise randomly but actually stem from deep-seated patterns within us. Then there are intrusive thoughts that challenge what we wish to create, trying to capture our attention and divert us from our focus. These are invitations to explore what we have yet to understand about ourselves. When we allow these thoughts to become opportunities for self-discovery, they cease to be obstacles and instead become keys to expanding our consciousness. This relationship between thought and perception is like a cycle of continuous creation. We are both creators and observers, living in a world that responds to and reflects what we think and feel. When we become aware of this, we recognize the transformative power our thoughts hold. Each thought is a field of possibility, a choice in how we wish to perceive and experience life. May we then consciously choose the thoughts we cultivate and the perception we wish to nourish. By doing so, we not only influence the reality around us but also connect with a deeper dimension of being, becoming co-creators of a world that reflects the truth of our soul. When we look into the essence of the universe, we encounter a fascinating paradox. Reality seems to be influenced by the mere presence of an observer. Quantum physics offers us profound insight into this with the double-slit experiment. In it, particles such as electrons behave as waves of possibilities or solid particles depending on whether they are being observed. This phenomenon suggests that the act of observation is not merely passive. It collapses the field of possibilities, making one of them real and concrete. This seemingly scientific observation holds a spiritual and philosophical implication. If the observer transforms potential into reality, just how far does our power go as observers of our own lives? Rather than simply being passive spectators, we actively participate in the creation of the world we experience. The observer effect, therefore, transcends the laboratory and quantum theories and invites us to reflect on what our choices, thoughts, and intentions are continually shaping in our reality. Imagine that by placing your attention on a thought, a desire, or an intention, you are influencing the field around you in a manner similar to what the double-slit experiment demonstrated. When we choose to focus our attention on something specific, we are, in a way, inviting that possibility to become reality. This is the observer effect in action. Our consciousness and intention become creative forces, directly interacting with the world around us and collapsing infinite possibilities into a concrete experience. This reflection brings us to a profound question. If conscious observation influences reality, what are we creating with our attention, expectations, and beliefs? As observers of our lives, we are called to awaken to this responsibility and to recognize that each thought, each focus of attention, acts as a force shaping what we experience. By directing our gaze toward what we want to manifest instead of what we fear, we begin to co-create a life that resonates with our true desires. May we then assume the role of conscious observers, knowing that our attention and presence influence everything we touch, feel, and experience. For, as in quantum physics, the universe around us is always responding to our consciousness, waiting for us to choose which possibilities we wish to make real. When we think of reality as a field of potentialities, a vast web of infinite possibilities, we realize that the observer's choice is the key element defining what will become concrete experience. The reality we see and live in is like a latent backdrop, waiting to be shaped by intention and perception. Each possibility exists in the now, merely awaiting the focus of our consciousness to emerge into the material world. What we choose to observe and where we decide to place our attention are acts of creation. The observer is not just someone who contemplates the world passively, they are a sculptor defining the shapes and contours of their own life. And this power of choice resides in each of us, in the subtle presence of our inner observer. The consciousness that can decide which direction to follow, which thought to nurture, and which experience to foster. By acknowledging this ability, each of us becomes a co-creator of our own reality. By intentionally choosing where to place our attention, we transform our relationship with life. We can decide to focus on the infinite potentials that promote peace, joy, and purpose, or unconsciously, allow fear and limitations to shape our experiences. The practice of observing oneself with compassion and presence, of choosing which thoughts and emotions to nurture, is the key to transcending the boundaries of what we once believed to be fixed. It is through this inner observer that we access a new level of self-awareness, capable of transforming what once seemed unattainable. Just as there is the inner observer, there is also the outer observer, the witness to the world and what we choose to see outside ourselves. When we choose to see reality around us with wonder and full attention, we become aware that beauty and meaning are present in everything. This outer observer helps us realize that the way we view the world reflects how we view ourselves. Each attentive glance, each moment of gratitude, and each choice of perception elevates the vibration of our experience and connects us more deeply with the universe around us. May we honor the observer that exists within us, both the one who observes the inner universe and the one who contemplates the outer universe. May each choice of perception be an expression of our power to create, transform, and realize what is most authentic and true in our essence. For as we choose how to observe, we also choose the reality we want to live and the dreams we wish to bring to life. In daily life, we often underestimate the power of small acts. Yet, when every gesture, every word, and every choice becomes intentional, we transform the ordinary into something sacred, and each moment becomes a space for conscious creation. Rituals and practices of presence are ways to anchor our attention and make our energy more focused and serene, so that the life we desire to manifest can flow more naturally and deeply. These rituals, simple and powerful, connect us to the present and simultaneously align our mind and spirit with our most authentic desires. Practices like meditation and mindfulness are direct ways to train attention and cultivate conscious perception. In meditation, we find an inner space of silence where the mind's noises quiet down and clarity arises. In this state of serenity, we become more conscious observers of our thoughts, allowing us to choose which we wish to nurture and which we are ready to let go. Meditation strengthens our inner observer, giving us the opportunity to reflect on what we genuinely want to create and to release what does not serve our highest good. Beyond meditation, we can turn the small acts of the day into conscious rituals, from the moment we wake up to the time we go to sleep. By starting the day with a thought of gratitude or having a simple cup of tea with full attention, we cultivate a practice of connection with the present and appreciation for what surrounds us. Placing intention in these everyday acts creates a frequency of peace and focus, where our mind ceases to wander through distractions and aligns with what we want to experience. These practices of presence are like anchors that keep our energy balanced and allow the intentions we set for our life to take shape more easily. When we are intentional in small moments, we become masters of our energy and transform our perception of time and experiences. Gradually, what once was commonplace begins to have a special glow, a greater meaning, because we are present and connected with our essence. May we bring awareness to each act, each word, each choice. May our days be filled with small rituals that nourish our spirit and connect us with the power to create the reality we desire. For when we live with intention, we transform not only what is outside of us but also what is within, and we begin to experience a life that reflects our own truth. Stoic philosophy reminds us of a profound truth. While we cannot control the events and circumstances around us, we have full power over how we choose to interpret and respond to them. For the Stoics, perception is a sacred tool, a key that allows us to transform any situation, no matter how adverse it may seem, into an opportunity for learning and growth. This teaching echoes the essence of the observer effect. By changing how we perceive what happens in our lives, we also change the impact these experiences have on our being. Imagine that each event that occurs is like a blank canvas. What we paint on it, the color and form we choose to attribute to what happens, is entirely our choice. When we accept that external circumstances do not define our peace or happiness, we find a deep and unshakable freedom. This is the power of the conscious observer, who chooses to look at life with a vision that transcends fear and limitations. In this Stoic vision, our mind becomes a fortress of calm, able to embrace both joy and pain with a spirit of acceptance and inner strength. This practice of control over perception is more than a technique. It is a daily commitment to clarity and presence. When we transform the way we interpret challenges and discomforts, we begin to draw closer to what is essential and let go of what is temporary. Stoicism teaches us to act with intention and live without attachment to outcomes, because at the core our actions are within our control, not the results. This practice of intentional action and detachment frees us from anxiety and the need to control everything, allowing us to trust the flow of life. In practice, we can integrate this Stoic principle through self-observation and the conscious choice of our reactions. When facing a difficult situation, ask yourself, what can I control here? How can I respond in a way that honors my peace and my truth? This simple question creates a space of choice, where the conscious observer can act in a way that maintains balance and peace, even amidst turbulence. May we adopt Stoicism as an inspiration to live with dignity and tranquility, cultivating a perception that allows us to see life as a continuous opportunity for growth. Let our minds be like water, flexible and serene, reflecting only what truly matters and letting the rest flow. For as we control the way we perceive the world, we find true freedom and create a reality that reflects our wisdom and inner peace. Each of us carries an inner story, a personal narrative that silently defines the limits of what we believe is possible. This narrative is a powerful tool of creation, for the stories we tell ourselves shape our choices, relationships, and dreams. As conscious observers, we have the ability to transform this narrative, to rewrite the chapters that no longer resonate with who we truly are. This rewriting is an act of freedom, a gesture that allows us to align our lives with what we desire rather than being guided by fears, doubts, or old patterns. The personal narrative is like a mirror. It reflects our deepest beliefs and the vision we hold of our own essence. When we observe it closely, we realize that many of the limitations we believe to be real are, in fact, reflections of stories we were told or constructed over the years. The practice of the observer effect here allows us to recognize these patterns and question them. Does this story still serve me? Does it reflect the person I want to become? Or am I just repeating a script that no longer makes sense in my life? By developing awareness of our personal narrative, we open up space for practices of self-affirmation and visualization, powerful ways to reshape our inner world. Self-affirmation allows us to speak to ourselves the truth we want to manifest. By affirming statements like, I am capable, I deserve love and abundance, or I am free to be who I am, we gradually replace old stories with new ones that resonate with our highest potential. The practice of visualizing these intentions and seeing them realized also strengthens this new narrative, allowing it to take root in our minds and hearts. As we change our personal narrative, our reality begins to reflect these new stories. People, opportunities, and experiences that once seemed distant start to appear in our lives, as if the universe is responding to the frequency of the new story we choose to tell. We begin to live a reality that resonates with who we truly are, rather than the limited versions we once believed to be true. The conscious observer, in this way, not only witnesses this transformation but directs it, creating a cycle of self-knowledge and aligned manifestation. May we honor the role of the observer in our personal narrative, choosing to tell a story that inspires, expands, and strengthens us. Let every word, thought, and image we build within ourselves be a reflection of what is most authentic and true within us. For as we rewrite our own story, we become architects of a reality that celebrates our essence and allows us to live with fullness and purpose. Each of us is like a singular note in a vast universal symphony, where the sound of each individual composes a greater harmony. At the heart of systemic thinking is this understanding that we are not isolated entities. Our choices, thoughts, and presence resonate far beyond ourselves, influencing the collective, the world around us, and future generations. Every intention we cultivate, every action we take, and every word we speak has a ripple effect, touching the vibrational field of everything that surrounds us. Thinking systemically is to recognize that Ein and we are interconnected. Here, the observer effect extends beyond the personal and is understood as part of the whole. When we observe ourselves and choose to transform our internal reality, we are simultaneously contributing to the transformation of the collective. Our pursuit of self-knowledge, peace, and harmony thus becomes an offering to the world, a seed planted in the shared soil of human experience. By understanding the role of the individual in the collective, we assume a new responsibility. Our actions are not merely personal choices, they also impact the world we share. With this awareness, every act of kindness, every gesture of respect, and every thought of gratitude becomes a contribution to the energy field that connects us all. We are all responsible for the shared reality, and through this responsibility, our power expands, for by raising our frequency, we also elevate the collective vibration. This deep understanding invites us to view our role in humanity with reverence. By exercising the observer effect in our own lives, we help shape the collective consciousness, making it more aware, compassionate, and connected. The way we choose to observe, think, and act becomes a score that inspires others to do the same, creating a network of transformation where each person, by following their truth, illuminates the path for those around them. May we remember that our power of creation is, at the same time, a responsibility of contribution. May our individual intentions resonate with the intent of harmony and unity for the greater good. For when we perceive the world as a field of interdependence and choose to act with love and awareness, we become co-creators of a reality where each individual shines in connection with the universal essence, contributing to a symphony of peace, respect, and evolution. Self-knowledge is the gateway to a new level of reality, where conscious perception becomes a tool for creation and awakening. The more we know ourselves, the more we access the power to influence our lives and the world around us, using the observer effect to collapse the desired possibilities. The journey of self-knowledge is not just a quest for answers. It is a profound practice of observation and inner listening, where we begin to perceive the patterns and beliefs that govern our being. And by observing these aspects, we free ourselves from automatic cycles and approach a more aligned and intentional existence. Practices of self-knowledge, such as visualization and clear intention, help us direct our energy consciously. When we visualize something we wish to manifest, we are choosing a specific possibility among many, bringing it into the concrete realm. Visualization is a way of anticipating a reality still in the potential plane and preparing our minds and hearts to receive it. By uniting this act with clear intention, we reinforce our commitment to what we want to see materialize, transforming intention into a thread that connects desire to reality. But self-knowledge goes beyond visualization and intention. It also involves the practice of looking within and observing each emotion, thought, and impulse with compassion and curiosity. Self-knowledge allows us to understand what drives us and what limits us, where our strengths lie and where our vulnerability resides. This act of honest observation is, in itself, a healing process, for by illuminating what was once in the shadow, we bring forth the truth of who we truly are. It is in this space of acceptance that the power of transformation is revealed, and our perception becomes freer and less conditioned. As we explore self-knowledge, we also discover the importance of concrete actions that support our intentions. Thinking and visualizing are fundamental steps, but it is inspired action that solidifies this creation. Every action aligned with our purpose, however small, brings us closer to the reality we seek to live. With each conscious choice, we reaffirm our commitment to the journey and take responsibility for our own evolution. We are, then, observers and agents of creation, manifesting a reality that reflects the truth we have discovered within ourselves. May we honor self-knowledge as a sacred practice, a journey of revelation and expansion. May every insight and every discovery guide us toward a life where the observer effect becomes an authentic expression of our being, and where our choices and intentions create a reality of peace, love, and purpose. For by deeply knowing ourselves, we find the power to observe and transform the world around us in a conscious and aligned way with what is most true in our hearts. At the heart of conscious creation, we find a paradox. While we wish to shape our reality, we are equally called to surrender to the flow of life, to control and let go, to direct and trust. These opposing movements intertwine like a sacred dance. The paradox of control reminds us that while we can direct our intention and choose where to focus our gaze, there is a greater force guiding life. The balance between acting and surrendering allows us to create consciously without falling into anxiety or resistance, letting the universe participate in creation with us. Surrendering to the flow of life is recognizing that there is a universal intelligence, a wisdom governing the rhythm of everything around us. Each situation, each experience, and every person we encounter is part of a greater synchronicity, a flow beyond what we can see. By letting go of the outcome, we surrender to this current, trusting that when we act with intention and heart, what is meant for us will arrive at the right moment. Releasing control is not giving up on our dreams. It is unbinding the chains of expectation, allowing reality to manifest in its purest form and in its own time. Practices of surrender, like conscious breathing, help us cultivate this trust. With each breath, we can learn to let go of the weight of needing control, inhaling peace and exhaling fear and anxiety. Meditations that focus on acceptance and letting go are powerful reminders that, just as nature flows effortlessly, we too are part of this flow. Trusting the process is an art, a practice that teaches us to observe life from a broader perspective, where everything is in its place, exactly as it should be. When we allow ourselves to live the paradox of control and surrender, we find a freedom that transcends the limitations of the ego. By trusting the flow, we create space for the universe to surprise us, bringing paths and answers that often exceed our own expectations. This is the secret of true co-creation, a harmonious dance between our conscious intentions and the wisdom of the universe. And when we cultivate this trust, we realize that surrender is, in fact, one of the deepest forms of love and acceptance, a gesture of faith that opens the doors to what is most beautiful and meaningful. May we learn to balance our ability to act with the wisdom of letting go, trusting, and surrendering to the flow. May each act of surrender bring us closer to what is truly ours, and with each breath, may we feel the peace of knowing we are exactly where we need to be. For control is only one part of creation, and it is in surrendering to the flow that we experience the grace and truth of who we are, in harmony with the universe. There is wisdom that has been lost in the vastness of time, guarded by ancestral traditions as treasures holding a deeper vision of the world and our role in it. Among indigenous peoples in Buddhism, Taoism, and many other ancient traditions, we find a shared belief that every human being is a co-creator of reality, an observer whose presence influences the fabric of existence. In ancestral spiritual traditions, the observer effect is knowledge expressed through rituals, practices, and a genuine reverence for life, nature, and everything connecting us to the cosmos. These traditions teach that everything is interconnected and that each action, thought, and intention reverberates through the universe like waves. For indigenous peoples, the earth, sky, animals, and plants are part of a sacred whole, and the observer is both a participant and a guardian of this balance. Practices of connecting with nature, like mindful walks, prayers to mountains, and riverside rituals, are expressions of the observer effect in action. By honoring nature and seeing oneself as part of it, humans awaken to the awareness that their role is to co-create a reality in harmony with the whole. In Buddhism, the act of observing is itself a spiritual practice. Through meditation and the non-judgmental observation of thoughts, the mind becomes a space of clarity and peace. This conscious observation dissolves illusions and allows the essence to reveal itself, free of attachments and interpretations. In Taoism, life is viewed as a constantly changing flow, and the role of the observer is to allow this flow to manifest without resistance, following the natural path of things. In both traditions, the observer is called to view life with simplicity and humility, aware that conscious perception allows for expansion and a return to essence. These ancestral practices invite us to perceive the interconnection between our being and the universe and to honor this connection. Walking barefoot on the earth, sitting in silence in the presence of a tree, observing the flow of a river. Each of these acts reminds us that the conscious observer is, above all, someone who honors and respects the mystery of life. When we live with this reverence, our reality begins to resonate with this frequency of peace, and we align with the natural flow of the cosmos in communion with all that exists. May we learn from ancestral traditions the importance of observing life with love, gratitude, and respect. May each practice of connecting with nature remind us that we are both observers and creators of our reality. For when we harmonize with the universe, we discover that true creation is an act of love, where each of us, as part of the whole, contributes to a world that is fuller and truer. Despite the transformative potential of the observer effect, it is essential to recognize its limitations and the challenges that arise when applying this practice to our lives. Conscious creation and the ability to influence our reality inevitably encounter barriers, both external and internal. Living in a world of uncertainties with circumstances that often escape our control, reminds us that reality is also shaped by collective, historical, and natural factors. These external influences, like the environment, social conditions, and life's unpredictable challenges, act as forces that share in constructing our destiny, requiring us to balance acceptance with intention. Internal factors also present important challenges. Limiting beliefs, fears, and deeply ingrained subconscious patterns can act as blocks, hindering the application of the observer effect. Sometimes, even with clear intention and conscious practice, our doubts and insecurities create internal resistance, interfering with the flow of manifestation. These challenges invite us on a continual journey of self-knowledge and remind us that the observer effect is not a tool for absolute control but rather a path of learning, where we cultivate resilience and acceptance amidst life's forces. The practice of observing limitations with compassion and patience is, in itself, an act of transformation. By recognizing the barriers, we also embrace the potential to overcome them. This process teaches us that the observer effect is not about imposing an idealized vision of reality but about participating in the creation of an authentic life, where our desires and intentions align with what is possible and true. Accepting that conscious creation is limited by nature and circumstances makes us more flexible, allowing us to respond to challenges realistically and adaptively. Instead of viewing these challenges as failures, we can interpret them as growth opportunities, where the practice of the observer effect becomes an exercise in humility, acceptance, and adaptation. Each limit we encounter reminds us that we are in a process and that true conscious creation involves both intention and openness to what life brings. By balancing the desire to manifest our dreams with acceptance of emerging realities, we learn to flow and respond to the world with wisdom and inner strength that grows with each challenge we overcome. May we see limitations and challenges as part of the journey of conscious creation, remembering that we are beings in constant learning. With every barrier we encounter, may we strengthen our practice of acceptance and resilience, creating a reality that reflects not only our desires but also the beauty of growth and overcoming. For by practicing the observer effect with realism and humility, we discover that true power lies in embracing both possibilities and limits, building a life in harmony with our essence and the flow of the universe. The journey of the observer is ultimately an unrelenting quest for purpose and meaning. As we perceive the power we have to influence reality, we also become aware of a deeper need to align our intentions and actions with what is most authentic and true within us. We are both observers and explorers, navigating an ocean of possibilities and guided by intuition toward what makes us feel whole and connected. The search for purpose, then, is an inner flame that leads us to ask not only what can I create, but what am I here to accomplish? Discovering and living a purpose is a process of self-revelation. When we connect to our purpose, we realize that it acts as a guiding force that not only defines our desires and intentions but also illuminates the path to a more meaningful reality. This purpose is not something imposed from outside. It emerges from within as a reflection of the unique essence each of us carries. When we align our actions with this purpose, we feel a sense of coherence and harmony that expands how we experience life and what we create. This alignment between intention and purpose strengthens the power of the observer. When we act in tune with what truly resonates with our soul, our choices become clearer, and our ability to manifest grows. The search for purpose is an act of deep connection, where we draw close to what truly matters and transcend superficial or temporary desires. We begin to see that the observer effect becomes more potent when our intentions come from a place of authenticity, a commitment to live a life not just full of experiences but also filled with meaning. Purpose also reflects itself in the contribution we offer to the world. The observer's journey is, therefore, a path of service, where each conscious choice, each act of compassion, and each moment of presence resonates beyond ourselves. Our personal purpose becomes a way of participating in the greater good, of serving the collective, and of leaving a positive mark on the world. When we find what we are here to accomplish, we begin to live in a frequency of peace and gratitude, knowing that our life uniquely contributes to the expansion and elevation of all reality around us. May we embrace the journey of the observer as a search for purpose, allowing each step to bring us closer to our truth and highest potential. And when we find our purpose, may we live with presence and intentions that resonate with our essence, creating a reality that is a faithful reflection of who we truly are. For life is ultimately a dance of intention, observation, and purpose, where each of us contributes to a collective creation of beauty, peace, and transformation. Throughout this journey, we have explored the power of the observer effect and how our perception and intention shape the reality we experience. Every thought, choice, and intention is a creative act that influences the universe around us, allowing latent possibilities to take shape in our lives. With this understanding, we see that the observer effect is more than a quantum phenomenon. It is an invitation to become conscious co-creators of our own reality, taking responsibility for what we wish to manifest and living in alignment with our purpose. Becoming a conscious observer is a daily practice of attention and presence. By cultivating awareness of our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions, we transform our relationship with the world and discover that by directing our focus and intention, we open doors to a fuller and more meaningful life. When used responsibly, this power of creation allows us to live with more authenticity, choosing narratives that resonate with our truth and connecting deeply with the flow of the universe. May we embrace the practice of observing with an attentive, loving, and intentional gaze. May each moment of presence and each conscious choice be steps toward a life that reflects our essence, aligned with what we desire and for the well-being of all. By becoming conscious observers, we raise our vibration and contribute to a more harmonious and enlightened collective reality. If this message resonated with you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your reflections on the observer effect and your experience in creating your own reality. May this journey inspire more people to explore the transformative power of consciousness, and may we continue together to create a world where each choice and intention contributes to a fuller and more authentic existence.